I'm not sure why you'd listen to what I have to say today. After all, I'm neither a real runner nor a real triathlete. I've run multiple marathons, I've completed iron distance triathlons, but I'm sure those were just luck. I'm really just an imposter trying to be a real runner and a real triathlete. I'm VanEpps, and welcome to today's episode of Stories from the Saddle. Imposter syndrome is a real thing, and most of us suffer from it to a certain degree. Despite the miles that Garmin says I've logged, swimming, biking, and running, and despite the finisher medals on my gym wall, I often don't feel like I qualify as a real runner or a real triathlete. After all, I've never won a race, I'm not nearly as fast as most of the other triathletes I know, and quite frankly, my resume of accomplishments pales in comparison to most of the real runners and real triathletes. Therefore, I question myself a lot more than I really should, and maybe you do too. Ironically enough, when I talk to new runners or new triathletes and they question whether they're legitimate athletes, I'm the first one to remind them, you run, therefore you're a runner. You compete, therefore you're a triathlete. You train, therefore you're a real athlete. It's easy to say when it comes to other people. It's not so easy to say about ourselves. I don't know about you, but I know a lot of athletes, myself included, who would often delete runs from Strava because they didn't want other people to see how slow they were. They might question if they're really authentic or if they deserve to be called a real runner with such poor performances on their public profile. Thankfully, I don't do that anymore. I accept myself for who I am, I accept my shortcomings for what they are, but I also know, deep down, I am a real runner, I am a real triathlete because I participate in those sports, and I hope you see yourself the same way. According to an article in Scientific American, imposter syndrome is a very real thing. It's a pervasive feeling of self-doubt, insecurity, or fraudulence, often despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. It typically strikes in smart, successful, talented people, and it most often strikes after a noteworthy accomplishment or recognition. Does this at all sound familiar to you? For most of us, the answer is an overwhelming yes. Unfortunately, most of us have those thoughts at times, whether in our profession, our family, our hobbies, or even our faith. Somehow, we seem to think everybody else has it all together, and yet we're struggling just to keep up. Evidence suggests otherwise. It's taken me a long time and a lot of work, but I now see myself as authentic. It has nothing to do with my accomplishments, and it has nothing to do with my abilities. It has everything to do with a few simple facts. I love running, and I run. Therefore, I'm a runner. Whether I'm fast or slow, whether I win or lose, I'm still running. Therefore, I'm a real runner. Let me challenge you to think about yourself in a different lens if you're struggling with these feelings. Unless you're seeking a spot on the podium, nobody cares about your pace. They care about your participation, that you're out there, you're doing it, you're making it happen. Nobody will judge you as an athlete based on how you perform against others. Whether you're first or you're last, you're still in the game. And nobody has ever judged you as a real runner or not based on what it says on your Strava profile. Lastly, people see you as a fellow athlete doing something you love, doing your best, and trying your hardest. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Stories from the Saddle. If so, please click on the like button, and don't forget to click subscribe if you'd like to hear more Stories from the Saddle. As always, remember that life's not just about the destination, so take some time along the way and enjoy the journey.